Ladies and gentlemen, what is going on? Fly here. Welcome back to the channel. So, in today's video, World of Warships is adding subs. But no, we're not gonna fall for it that easy. It's March 27th today. April 1st is very, very close. Okay, so just keep in mind, this could be an April Fool's. But don't be that naive as Wargaming is being like, oh yes, it's for April Fools. If this airs April Fools, I think this is a test bed. Because back in the day, they never said never. They said not in future development. And one of their main reasons is that the technology is not there. I mean, I don't buy that shit. I just think they were a little bit lazy and they didn't want to make the meta too ridiculous. But now they added RDF or RDR, whatever it's called, the radar spotting, everyone knows where you are stuff. They're like, fuck it, you know, we got to save this game. We got to add submarines. And from the start, I've said that submarines would be a great addition into the game if you just throw out a little bit of historical accuracy, which is the top speed. Because World War II submarines went pretty slow underwater. So, yes, a little bit of a speed boost, and I think everything would kind of work. Playfulness aside, I think this is serious. I think this is Wargaming getting away with the free tests and disguising it as April Fools. Because if the community fucking despises it, then no problem, it was just April Fools. Or if the community loves it, they're like, oh, you guys love that, we're gonna make April Fools all year long, or, you know, add the submarine. But just keep in mind that this submarine thing might not even be an April Fools. It might be a 4D chess move by Wargaming to distract us from the real April Fools. Okay, but in today's video, I've written some stuff down and I wanna share with you guys on how I think submarines in World of Warships could work. Now, disclaimer, I haven't played much of World of Warships since the new patch came out, so a lot of the things that I have written down and thought up of are from old patches and how I remembered the game. So just bear that in mind. I'm looking to get back in World of Warships again. I just get so busy with other games and stuff, and it's hard to keep with it, with the meta changing so much. So bear with me, but I think these are going to be some good ideas on how subs are going to work. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm just going to break it up into two sections. The first section will be how the sub will work, and then the second section will be how to counter submarines in World of Warships. So how will it work? First and foremost, submarine gameplay needs to be a 3D environment. So you can go left and right and up and down. If they try to pull a Steel Oceans, air quotes, 3D environment where it just lowers your submarine into the water and the shade turns a different color to represent your depth, I don't think that's gonna work. I think players have to be able to navigate the terrain, because the bottom of the map or the terrain of the map will also balance submarines' whereabouts on the map. Because if you think about it, there will be safe zones on the map where a submarine can't go as deep as it wants to, so it has to risk itself to go in shallow waters. And that kind of gets on to another point of mine. The deeper you are in a submarine, the harder it is for the enemy team to spot you. And on the contrary, the higher you are, the easier it is for the enemy team to spot you. But at that depth, you're able to perform your submarine duties of killing enemy ships. And that brings me on to my next point, is that you can only fire a torpedo if you're on the surface or at periscope level at surface ships. So you can't be 70 meters underwater firing 4 torpedoes at a battleship 10 kilometers away and expect to get a hit. Now, one thing that's troubling with that statement is that how do we deal with submarine versus submarine combat? If you guys have a better solution than the one I'm about to provide, please let me know in the comments below. I don't feel too strongly about this one, but it's the only way I see it will work at this exact moment. So if you get into a submarine versus submarine situation, I guess you would proxy spot them somehow with passive sonar or active sonar. We'll get into what passive and active kind of is on how to kill submarines in a little bit, but you would proxy spot them, and then I guess you would just aim the submarine like you would aim a gun at the enemy submarine and launch a torpedo and hope that it would hit. So yeah, if you guys have a better solution, please let me know. Now on to the two final points on how could submarines work in World of Warships. O2 levels. This one I think is critical if submarines were to be added in World of Warships. If this is not a feature of submarine combat in World of Warships, submarines won't work. You need to force the player to be able to manage O2 levels and know when to dive and know when to surface to get the submarine as close as possible to enemy ships with enough O2 in the reserves to plan out an attack. It can't stay underwater all game long. It won't work like that. They need to make sub gameplay challenging. It needs to reward those players who take the time to plan out a strategic path and hunt to kill enemy ships, and punish those who don't want to take the time to learn it. And in my personal opinion, if I get killed by a naval vessel that is challenging to play, I'll have more respect for that death than if I died by a carrier manually dropping torpedoes at tier 4. Last but not least, if you dive too deep, let's say past the red line, and you keep going, it will gradually increase the damage to your ship. So if you're right at red line, it will tick down this slow. But if you stay at that red line, it will tick down faster. Or if you go past the red line, it will tick down way faster. And this will prevent people from diving so deep for a very long time to evade any type of detection. And last but not least, I just thought of this, is that if you dive too deep, you cannot communicate with your team. So you have to be at a certain depth closer to the surface to send and receive radio transmissions. Because I believe even today, submarines have to surface to a certain point closer to the surface of the water to send and receive transmissions. So this will also balance the submarine to where you can't just stay deep as hell underwater hunting a ship. You have to stay in radio contact with your team to receive information if no one's in your influence of sonar, let's say. Okay, so now on to how to spot enemy submarines. We're gonna keep this pretty explained like I'm 5 because I'm new to this and I don't wanna spread information that is false or too in depth. Get it? Submarines, depth, okay. Passive and active sonar. So we're gonna start with active sonar. Active sonar is generally used by surface ships. And active sonar sends out a pulse and the operator listens for the return pulse. And what this does is it allows a surface ship, which is very, very loud, a lot of noise going on, to be able to hear a distinct sound of an echo. The big downside of active sonar is that you had a strong echo off something near you. You know somebody's around you. However, that somebody now knows exactly where you are as well. Because for that sonar signal to emit, it had to originate from somewhere, and that somewhere was you. And that's exactly the reason why submarines don't like to use active sonar. They don't want to tell the destroyer that, hey, I'm here, come depth charge me. Submarines mainly use passive sonar, which they don't send anything out. It's not active, it's passive. So what the operator in the submarine does is that he has his little headphones on and he listens for noises. And as said before, surface ships are very, very loud. So the submarine's able to hunt the destroyer without having to send out sonar because the destroyer is already so loud. So good, now we know what passive and active sonar is roughly. How will it be used in World of Warships? Correct me if I'm wrong, but don't we already have one of the mechanics already in game? That's gonna be passive or hydro. All we would have to do is add an active icon with another button and bada boom, bada bang. It's done. However, we need to have a discussion about the times you can use it, because right now hydro is on a 2 or 3 times per battle, and that would kind of suck if you use your passive and active sonar mid or early game and there were 2 more subs late game. So for it to work, it would have to be on a time countdown. It would always reload after like a minute or two. But let me know you guys' thoughts in the comments below. Another thing I want to talk about is sonar from planes. Planes have the capabilities. Now, I'm not sure in early World War II they had this, but they were able to drop sonar buoys that they would drop in the water, and it would listen for submarines. Now, I don't even know if it was sonar or if it was radio, but planes could drop these buoys and they could spot and relay information back to friendly ships. And on that topic of airplanes, we could have planes that could carry depth charges to kill submarines. It would give another class of plane for the carrier to take out with and help deal with the onslaught of wolf packs in World of Warships. But yeah, so now the submarine is now spotted by active sonar and maybe from a sono buoy. We know exactly where it's at. How do we kill it? Well, there were two main types of anti-submarine weapons in World War II. One was called the depth charge. Now, this one did not make direct contact with the submarine. It was a barometric detonation. So at a certain depth, it would explode. And the pressures from that would crack holes, create leaks, and either make the submarine sink or blow the ballast tanks, and it would rise up because it was in danger and they would surrender sometimes. But in World of Warships, we probably just blast their ass to smithereens. The second one was a British invention called Hedgehogs. I believe I'm pronouncing that right. Pretty much these things were just mortars fired up into the air around the ship, and they were direct contact weapons. So they would hit the hull and boom goes the dynamite. The destroyer, the submarine would, well, in simple terms, sleep with the fishies. Guys, I hope you have enjoyed today's video. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Let's get a good discussion on. Now, I'm not saying submarines will work in World of Warships. I'm just saying these are some ideas that I have that could allow submarines to work. But note it, April 1st is going to be a great day for gaming, and I hope to see something crazy from Wargaming. Again, guys, hope you have enjoyed. Have a good Monday. Until next time, peace out.